Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 31st December today, and in this video we are going to solve different types of questions which are very much relevant for your preparation. Before we'll start solving these questions, I would like to give you the brief introduction about the video so that if you are new to this channel, you will get more connected with it. And if you are the regular visitor of our channel, then I would like to recommend you guys to fast forward few minutes so that you will jump directly to the discussion part. Now coming back to the introduction part, in this video every day we try to discuss various types of questions, and if we will break them into the subsets, it would come under three different parts. In the first part of our discussion, we discuss questions directly from the current affairs. You know what we do? Every day we try to take up the most important articles from the newspapers. We try to break them down into the simplest language possible and derive the prelims based questions from those particular articles. So that, you know, it will give the idea how the questions can be framed from these particular news articles, what part of the newspaper is important for your preparation, and what should be your approach in for your prelims preparation. This is what we do in the first part of our discussion. After solving questions with respect to the current affairs, we move to the another part of our discussion where we solve questions from the static part. We had started discussing static topics here from 2 to 3 months now, and right now we are discussing Indian polity. And in Indian polity, we had reached up to fundamental duties. Today, we are going to take a small article from fundamental duty, understand that, and try to frame a prelims based question from that particular article so that it will give you the idea, even though the topic may seem discrete, very small, but still the UPSC can surprise you by asking question from that particular part. So this is how we will prepare you for that crisis also. This is what we do in the second part of our discussion. After solving questions with respect to current affairs and the static part, we shift our discussion where we solved questions from the previous year question book. We take up previous year questions, a few previous year questions here. We try to discuss them, we try to break them down, we try to understand the vocabulary used by UPSC, we try to understand the methods used by UPSC to deceive the aspirant, and we try to find out the various ways and methods by which we can solve those questions if we don't have the proper knowledge, and also we will try to understand how we can implement that knowledge in the upcoming exams. Though, so this is what we do in this video. So this is what we are going to do in this video in nutshell. Now before we will start solving these questions, I would like to request you guys a few things here which I believe if you will follow, it will definitely help you in cracking your exam next year. First of all, what I would want you to do to note down these questions, if you are preparing for next year's prelims, what I believe you should do, you should start noting down these questions, develop your own question bank before the exams are near. When your exams are near, I am talking about the month of May, and only few days are left. You at that time, being an aspirant myself too, I would want to revise everything what I have to read before the exam. But the time does not permit us because we have to go through various books, we have to go through various huge syllabus we have to go through. We have to cover our CSAT also. Time does not permit us to go through this stuff. Time does not permit us to revise everything. But if you have these questions with you at that time, what you will do, you just revise the questions. These questions will definitely connect you with the current affairs. It will connect you with the static part, as well as it will give you the previous year question analysis, and it will boost your confidence before entering the exam hall. And also, who knows, as we are discussing the questions from the sources which is the same source which is used by the UPSC faculty to frame your exams. Who knows, maybe many questions can coincide, as we are doing it from last 6 months now. Many statements can coincide, or if not the statements, the concepts would definitely coincide. So being on the safer side, I would like to recommend you guys to note down these questions and revise them before your exams are near. Now with this, I would like to request you guys again, please do subscribe the channel, share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative, and do write in the comments what do you feel about the video, what else should we bring for you guys. If there is any need of improvement, do tell us, we will try to improve that. With this, let us start with the first question which we had brought today. It is basically about the extradition treaty between India and Bangladesh. If you can see here, extradition treaty between India and Bangladesh. Let's see what does the question say. It says consider the following statements regarding the extradition treaty between India and Bangladesh. We had signed this treaty in 2013. Why we are discussing this question? You may ask me this. Why, sir, we had brought this question here from nowhere? The answer to this question is in today's newspaper, because the Yunus government, which is right now in Bangladesh, which came after the fall of the Hasina government there, they are demanding the extradition of Sheikh Hasina from India. Right now, as we know that on 5th August, when Sheikh Hasina fled from Bangladesh to India, she is staying in India. She is being the guest of India. Now the Yunus government demands that she should be brought back to India, that India should extradite her back to India. So with this regard, what India can do? So here we need to understand this treaty, when it was signed, when it was amended, what does it say, and also what are options left with India, how India can approach this. So with respect to this, there are few amendments were made in 2016 with respect to how a country can refuse to their demands, how the receiver country who is receiving the request, how they can refuse the demands raised by the sender country. For example, here Bangladesh is sending the request to the India. So here are few things which India can take into the consideration. The first thing, how India can refuse this demand from the Bangladesh. First thing which we should know, that in this, that the imprisonment for that particular person is below 4 months. If the imprisonment for that particular person is below 4 months, then the government in which she is staying, in which that person is staying, the government can refuse the demand of that particular country. Or the second option is that that person is accused in a political crime, in a political offense. If the person is accused in a political offense, then also the receiver government, like India here, can refuse the demand of the sender government, the Bangladesh here. And the third term, which is very important, that if the receiver government feels that the intentions are very harm for that particular person, that the country which is sending this request, their intentions are very bad for that particular person, then also if the India feels so, India can withdraw their request, India can refuse to their request. So with this regard, here the article says what the Indian government are left with, what are the options India government are left with. Here we have to understand in what cases India government can refuse it. Here there are three cases. First of all, if the imprisonment is below 4 months. Second, if if the person is accused in the political offenses. Third, if the country, if there are bad intentions for that particular person, then this request can be refused. But right now India does not want to worsen its relationship with Bangladesh. After we know that Sheikh Hasina, she was very much friendly with India. Sheikh Hasina, her government was very much friendly with India. She had cooperated with India in curbing the terrorism in that particular part of our country. She had helped India in many ways. We had very great relationship with Sheikh Hasina. After the lost of her office, after the fall of her government, our relationship with Bangladesh has not been that good, because there are violences against the minorities in that particular country. That country now is visiting us as their enemies, so our relationship has derailed from that particular time. Now if India will refuse to this request from the Bangladesh, it will further derail our relationship. Now what India can do? Here the author recommends two things that India can do here. The first thing, what the author recommends, that India should ask them, if you want to do the trial of that particular person, you can do the free and fair trial of that Sheikh Hasina without any concern, without any doubt. You can do that trial, but Sheikh Hasina will remain in our country. She will not be free like other people in our country, that other foreigners, they can roam wherever they want to go. There would be some restrictions on her. She would be under house arrest in India itself. And if you need the access of her, maybe through video call, during when the case is in the courts, it would be granted to the Bangladesh government, but she won't be sent there. But the India can say to them that you can do the free and fair trial in the court. That is the one way that India can approach to this. And the another way by how India can approach to it is that India should recommend them to go to the India should hand over Sheikh Hasina to the ICC. International Criminal Court, and they will decide about her and on which condition they should hand over Sheikh Hasina to them, that she will not be sent back to the Bangladesh, because they can even because there are huge allegations against him and she may be killed there. So that condition should be met, that ICC won't hand over to the Bangladesh, and the case will run in the ICC. So these are the two ways India can respond to them, and in this way, these are the possible two ways by which India can, develop their relationship with Bangladesh, and at the same time, India will not ditch Sheikh Hasina. So this is all about this article which was in the news. That's why we had brought this question, because it becomes important for us to know about this extradition treaty between India and Bangladesh. Now, by solving this question, we will get more idea about it. Here, the first statement, it says, consider the following statements regarding the extradition treaty between India and Bangladesh. First statement: the treaty mandates extradition for offenses punishable by at least 1 year of imprisonment in both countries. 100% correct, because here both countries are involved, and the punishment which is given to, and the punishment which is given to her is for at least 1 year. So here in this case, it is mandatory for the country to extradite, to send that person back to that particular country who is demanding her or him. So first statement is correct. Second statement, it excludes extradition for fiscal offenses such as those. There is no such exclusion related to the fiscal offenses. So this statement is incorrect. Offenses, whatever, there is only a, it only excludes political offenses. So with respect to this statement, statement 2, it is totally incorrect. If any person is involved in the fiscal offenses, that person can be also extradited. Extradition of that person is also possible under this treaty. So with respect to this question, the second statement is incorrect. Coming to the third statement, it says the treaty was signed in 2013 and subsequently amended in 2016 to streamline extradition process. 100% correct. It was amended in 2016 itself. So with respect to this question, this statement is also correct. Coming to the fourth statement, it says extradition can be refused if the offense is considered a political offense with certain limitations. 100% correct. Nothing wrong with this statement. So with respect to this question, statement 1, statement 3 and statement 4 are correct, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. So with this, I hope you had understood the extradition treaty between India and Bangladesh, and also the context why we had brought this question here. You had understood the discussion, you had understood the possible way forwards by which India can respond to the Bangladesh. Now with this, let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here, the question is about which of the following organizations operate unified payment interface system in India. Why we had brought this question here, the answer to this question is in the newspaper today, because there was an article which talked about the UPI duopoly rise and market vulnerabilities. So here, you should know one thing about the UPI, Unified Payment System. In our country, there is an act by Payment Settlement System Act. There is an act named Payment Settlement System Act. Under this act, the RBI, under this act, under this Payment Settlement System Act, under this act, the RBI has allowed one of these organizations to operate UPI, and that we know when we will solve this question. One of these, the RBI, under this act, under this Payment Settlement System Act, under this act, the RBI has allowed one of these organizations to operate UPI, that is Unified Payment Interface. What is this Unified Payment Interface? It is not like any banking. It is not something that you have accounts there, or it is not something like a wallet. It just allows you to transfer money from one person to another, from one bank to the another bank. So it helps you to transfer this money. So as it is operated by one of these organizations, so this is very much important for today's economy, to run. But then there comes the concept of third party app providers. There comes the concept of third party app providers. So as here we are seeing what are the issues with the UPI, here comes the concept of third party app providers. And in our country, there are mostly two apps which act as a third party app providers with respect to the UPI, which are mostly followed in our country. One is Google Pay, one is Google Pay, and another is Phone Pay. And unfortunately, both of them are foreign companies. So these two companies, they enjoy the monopoly, a kind of a monopoly under the in a unified payment system. These apps are the third party app providers, so they enjoy this monopoly, and it is estimated that all the transactions which happen through unified payment interface through UPI, 80% of them are done by these two apps. 80% of those transactions done through UPI are done through these two apps in India. So there are high chances of issues to lots of issues can arise from this. So because of these two apps, they enjoy the monopoly. Because of this third party app providers, these two third party app providers, there can be risks to the Indian market. There can be risks to the Indian market. And what are those risks? And let's see, the article talks about those risks which can rise because of these two apps only, these two third party apps only, monopolizing this market. So the risks associated with each, first one is concentration risk. First risk is risk concentration risk. For example, we know 80% of UPI transactions are done through these apps. Whenever there is any festival or anything, all the transactions would happen through these apps. So there are chances that these apps may crash, the websites may crash, and transaction may stop. And also in during these times, even I will give you the example of me. I don't like to carry cash with me because I have phone with me, so I will try to use Google Pay. So when such apps crash, it will vandalize the market. It will definitely impact the market because I cannot do the transactions, I cannot buy or sell things. So that will definitely impact the market. So this is one of the issue with it, as these two only apps enjoy this duopoly. These two enjoy this monopoly, a kind of a monopoly, a duopoly we can say, with respect to unified payments interface, and this can crash. There are the chances of concentration risk. Then also, these two apps, they understand that there is no competition to them, they will least invest in R&D, in R&D, research and development. There would be no innovation in these two apps, and it definitely would impact our economy in the longer run, because the other countries which have different ways and methods to do these transactions, they would reach to the highest levels, and we would be still stuck with the functioning which is given to us by these two particular apps, because they will feel that they are enjoying this duopoly, they are enjoying this kind of monopoly. So they will not invest that much in the R&B. So this will definitely impact, it will definitely impact us in the longer run. And also, here these are the major issues which do come because of these duopoly enjoyed by these two particular apps in the UPI system. So this is what was in the newspaper, basically the issues which arise from the duopoly of these particular two apps. So what we can do, what is the way forward? It is better for the country to go for the different ways. The domestic, it is better for us to go for the domestic ways to get in the domestically grown TPAP. We have to grow domestically. Third party app providers like Paytm and others, they should be boosted, they should be incentivized, so that this concentration risk would be reduced. This duopoly enjoyed by them will be reduced to the highest level, and it will make the transactions very smooth in our country. So these risks should be reduced. So this is in nutshell about the article what was in the news. Now coming back to the question, as the question says, which of the following organizations operate the unified payments interface system in India? As I said, it is the RBI under this Payment Settlement System Act. They had authorized this organization, which is National Payments Corporation of India, NPCI of India, NPCI. This RBI has authorized this National Payments Corporation of India under Payment Settlements Act to operate unified payment interface. So with this, I hope you had understood the question itself, and also what is the background of this question, why we had brought this. The background is that there is a duopoly of these third party apps, especially Google Pay and Phone Pay, which can have huge risks on the Indian transaction economy, on the Indian economy, on the market economy of India. So how there could be concentration risks, there could be less investment less investment in R&D. So with this, I hope you had understood the article and also the question here. With this, let's move to the another question and try to solve it. Here the question is with respect to the private members bill in the Indian Parliament. The question which we had framed here regarding private members bill in the Indian Parliament, which of the following statements are correct? Why we had brought this question here? Because there was an article which talked about that the private members bill gets a short shrift in both houses. They get less time for discussion in both the houses. About the private members bill, we should know that it is the bill which is introduced by a private member who is the member of the parliament. Either he is the member of the parliament, either Lok Sabha or the Raj Sabha. He is not a minister. If he introduces a bill, it becomes a private members bill. With respect to the private members bill, we should know that they have to give the 1 month notice if they want to introduce it. If they want to introduce this bill, they have to give the 1 month's notice. And the discussion over this private members bill is done in the second half of alternative Fridays. The discussion for the private members bill is done only in the second half of the alternative Fridays. So there are various concerns related to this. There is an analysis conducted by PRS, and they had found that from 2019 to 2024, from 2019 to 2024, the analysis had been done by PRS, and they had found that only 9.08 hours discussion was given to in this particular time frame from 2019 to 2004. Only 9.08 hours were given to the Lok Sabha, given in the Lok Sabha with respect to the private members bill, and in Raj Sabha only 27 hours in that particular time. Only 27 hours were given to the Raj Sabha. And also this article, it raised few concerns. What were that? It basically discussed that this time should not be allotted on the Fridays, because Fridays are it is like an ending session of the week, and people are already exhausted, so they want to leave for the constituencies. So it is better that this day should be shifted in the middle of the week, so that more discussion would be given to it and more concentrations would be given to this. So with respect to private members bill, we should know that the last time the private members bill was passed, it was in 1968. It was the last time when the private members bill was passed in 1968, 1970. It was the last time when the private members bill was passed, and so far it is believed, so far I guess, I don't remember the number properly. I guess it is 14 private members bills had passed so far. So this is all about the private members bill, the nutshell which was in the article today. And with respect to this question, we will understand it more in detail. So here first statement, as the question asks us regarding private members bill in the Indian Parliament, which of the following statements are correct? First statement, a private members bill is introduced by any member of the Parliament who is not a minister. 100% correct, nothing wrong with the statement. Second statement, a private members bill have lower chance of being passed compared to government bills. 100% correct, nothing wrong with this statement. Third, the admissibility of a private members bill is decided by the speaker of the Lok Sabha or the chairman of the Raj Sabha, as the case may be. 100% correct, nothing wrong with this statement also. Fourth statement, it says there is no specific time allotted for discussion on private members bill. Totally incorrect. Even though this specific time allotted to discussion on private members bill is small, but there is a time allotted for its discussion. So with respect to this question, the fourth statement is incorrect. We can eliminate option C. We can eliminate option D. Now we are left with one, A and B, and we know that statement 1, statement 2, and statement 3 is correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be option B. So with this, I hope you had understood what this private members bill is about and what are the concerns which were raised by PRS with respect to private members bill. I hope you had understood that. With this, let's move to the another question and try to solve that. Here the question is with respect to which of the following statements are correct regarding the dissolution of districts within a state in India. Why we had brought this question? Because there was an article in which recently we saw after 23 there were 17 more districts. Earlier there were 33 districts in Rajasthan. in 2023, 17 more districts were made. The government in Rajasthan, they are deciding that they will, they will dissolve 9 of these 17 districts. So the earlier limit, which right now is 50, it will be reduced to 41 districts in Rajasthan, because 9 will be dissolved. So with respect to this dissolution of districts, we need to understand these important points which we had created here. Now that we will understand through this question. Here the question says, which of the following statements are correct regarding the dissolution of districts within a state of India? We have to understand who can dissolve these districts. First statement, the power to create, alter or dissolve districts lies exclusively with the Parliament of India. Totally incorrect. Nothing wrong with the statement. Nothing right with this statement. This is totally incorrect. Second statement, the state government, through an executive order or legislation passed by the state legislature, can dissolve the existing districts. So 100% the power lies with the state government. This statement is 100% correct. Third statement, the governor of the state has the discretionary power to dissolve a district if there is a breakdown of law and order. Totally incorrect, because the governor is bound by the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. This is totally incorrect here. Fourth statement, the process of dissolving a district requires prior approval from the President of India. This is also incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option B. So what do we understand from this question? A question like this can be framed in the exam as right now 9 districts are to be dissolved in Rajasthan, and there is huge high and cry over this step of the government. It is more political situation right now there, that you don't need to bother what is happening there. But what is important for us is the dissolution of districts, and which is the association, which is the organization which is responsible for that. It is the state government which is responsible for the dissolution of the districts. They have the power. They can do it by an executive order or by legislation passed by the state legislature. Here we understood that president has nothing to do with that. We understand that parliament, it does not exclusively, it is not under the Parliament of India. We also saw here that it is not the discretion of the governor. So from this question we understood who has the power to dissolve these districts. It is the state government. Or who has the power to make the new districts? It is the state government. So with this, the correct option to this question is option B, that is 2 only. That is, the state government through an executive order or legislation passed by the state legislature can dissolve existing districts. With this, let's move to the another question and try to understand that. Here the question is about which of the following authorities release the good governance index in India. Why we are discussing this about the good governance? Why we are discussing this question about good governance index? Because the center has decided not to release its 2023 good governance index. About the good governance index, it is released after every 2 years. Mostly after every 2 years it was released, and this time center has decided that they are not going to release the good governance index of 2023. They will release in 2025. The last good governance index was released in 2021. So this is about the good governance index, why we had brought this question here. And here we need to know which is the authority or which is the department which releases this good governance index. It is definitely, is it Niti Aayog? No. Is it Ministry of Whom? No. Is it National Institute of Public Finance? No. It is definitely the option C, which is Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievance. It is DARPG. It is this authority, it is this department which releases the good governance index. So with this, we complete today's discussion with respect to the topics from the current affairs. There were many other articles in the news article, like the Wayanad landslides. There was discussion over them. There was discussion over the death of former US president, that Jimmy Carter, which I believe is least important to us. So there were different articles too in the newspaper which I felt we had discussed them many times, and few of them were not that important for us to understand, to do the proper discussion over them. So with this, we complete today's discussion with respect to the current affairs. Now we will shift our approach toward today's static topic question, and that is from the fundamental duties, article 51 sub A subsection B. Let us see. Here the question says, Here the question says Article 51A of the Indian Constitution lists the fundamental duties. Specifically, Article 51AB refers to which of the following? You know about fundamental duties, we should know that it is part 4 A of the Indian Constitution. You know they are not enforceable by law. We should know that. And with this, let's see what they were taken from the. We got inspired from the USSR, the Soviet Union Constitution. We took it from them, and it was Soren Singh committee who was appointed to review the constitution. It was the Soren Singh committee who was appointed to review the constitution. They recommended that we should have the fundamental duties in our constitution, and it was introduced by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, which is also called the mini constitution. So with this, let us solve this question and understand what does Article 51A subsection B say. It says the value and preserve the high rich heritage of our composite culture. No, it is not. What does it say? To cherish and follow the noble ideas which inspired our national struggle for independence. This is 100% what this article is about. To cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option B. So here what did we understood that Article 51AB, it is about to cherish the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom. What about Article 51A subsection A? We saw that in last class. It is about to abide by the constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, that is the national flag, the national anthem, and others. So with respect to this question, I hope you had understood Article 51A subsection B. With this, let us move to the last part of our discussion, where we will solve a previous year question and understand what is the vocabulary which the UPSC uses there. Here the question, actually, the pattern has changed very much now. This question was asked in 1997, very much factual question, and here we cannot understand that much rather than discussing more about the other options. Now here let's see what is the correct answer to this question. Let us see what does the question say. The question says daily weather map showing isobars is an example of what? It is an example of isopath map. It is the straightforward question. It is much conceptual. So with this, what we can do more, we can go what you can do, you can go to the Google and search about other options which are given here. With this, we complete today's discussion. I hope you had understood everything what I discussed here. You had understood every question. You had understood the context of these questions very well. Now with this, I would like to say thank you to you guys for staying with me. Have a great day. Have a great night if you are watching it at the night. And I hope you succeed in the exam which you are preparing for. Thank you. Thank you very much for staying with me.